Tanggal 5 Desember, PBB mencanangkan Hari Relawan Internasional. Tim dari VOA mengajak pemirsa untuk melihat serba-serbi aksi relawan. Profil relawan kali ini adalah mantan prajurit Amerika Serikat yang pernah bertempur di Irak. Ia tidak lagi bersama tentara Amerika Serikat, namun tetap kembali ke Irak untuk berbagi dengan warga Irak yang terdampak perang melalui proyek minum teh. Berikut liputan selengkapnya.
The project is a ongoing project in collaboration with Amber Ginsberg. I originally began the project in 2009 out of a return trip to Iraq in order to share all the generosity despite and to create a space for people to sit, sip tea, and reflect about living in a constant state of war. I asked Amber to join the project in 2013 to help cast one porcelain teacup for each person that's been detained in Guantanamo. We've pushed the project further and expanded it to include all these forms of presentation and installation. From the middle of my deployment, I've committed my life to using creative practices to counter destruction, to counter the dehumanization that too much of our world is consumed by. I remember, getting up to Camp Navistar, which is the camp on the border between Kuwait and Iraq. Shortly after President Bush, got up on an aircraft carrier and declared mission accomplished. And, I was motivated. I was like, we're gonna go provide some humanitarian relief. I'm gonna help, fix some bridges and stuff, and I'm gonna go home a hero. The whole time I was deployed, I was offered tea by the Third Country Nationals, which is a massive migrant labor force that the U.S. military depends on. It's basically slave labor. And they come up to us and they say, hey, we need food. And we tell them it's not our job to feed you. And these were guys hauling our supplies. And despite that, these men that had nothing would turn to us and offer us tea. And then we would refuse it. Everyone that we were there to help and liberate, we were simultaneously dehumanizing and abusing. And so I never had tea my entire deployment, not once. I got out of the Illinois National Guard and I joined Iraq Veterans Against the War. One of their allies was this group called U.S. Labor Against the War. They wanted to host an international labor conference to talk about worker issues in Iraq in the midst of the occupation. And after I was done speaking, this man jumps up in the back of the auditorium and starts yelling something really loud in Arabic and just booking down towards the stage. And I'm like, okay, well, this is it. This guy's gonna come beat me up. And just as he comes up on stage, I hear the translation come through the little earpiece, and it's, I just want to come up on stage and give this gentleman a hug. And he grabs me and he hugs me. And I just started to bawl. This man, he was in the Iraqi military and fought against the invading forces and forced the British military out of his oil fields. And there he was hugging me. And they brought me off stage and they brought me out of the auditorium, they sat me down. And they offered me tea. Tea that for the very first time, I accepted.